dancing beat. Hi everyone, I'm your best friend, back in town again.
Defending the principle Orson Pratt and the rhetoric of plural marriage. Publication of BYU Scholarship Archive. And this author states, in 1852, the leadership of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints made a pivotal decision to publicize the doctrine of plural marriage, something they had refrained from doing for years. This decision came in reaction to the federal and social pressures. They quickly moved to announce and defend plural marriage. Orson Pratt was chosen by Brigham Young to be the face and the voice of the church concerning plural marriage, both in Salt Lake and among members, and in Washington, D.C., where he preached sermons and published periodicals on the subject. This thesis demonstrates why Orson Pratt was the ideal candidate for such an undertaking. So what made Orson Pratt the ideal candidate to introduce the world to the Brighamite system of polygamy? Well, you might remember that Orson Pratt was excommunicated by Joseph Smith as being one of the most corrupt, mentally imbalanced, and fools of Nauvoo. In 1886, Orson Pratt's wife, Sarah Pratt, claimed in an interview that while in Nauvoo, Joseph Smith Jr. was attracted to her and intended to make her one of his spiritual wives, while Orson was in England on missionary service. To Smith's proposal, Sarah replied, "Am I called upon to break the marriage covenant to my lawful husband? I never will. I never will. I care not for the blessings of Jacob, and I believe in no such revelation. Neither will I consent under any circumstances. I have one good husband, and that is enough for me." Ta-da! Such a moral woman is Sarah Pratt. Pratt issued the ultimatum to Smith. "Joseph, if you ever attempt anything of the kind with me again, I will tell Mr. Pratt on his return home. Depend on it, I will certainly do it." A warning that elicited a threat from Smith. Now listen to the threat that good old boy Joseph Smith, who was beloved for his good nature and jovial demeanor, threatens, according to Sarah Pratt, threatens her life. Let's hear what Sarah Pratt has to say. Sarah Pratt, "I hope you will not expose me." This is supposedly, allegedly, Joseph Smith. "If I am to suffer, all will suffer." Here's a threat. "If I am to suffer, all of you will suffer. So do not expose me. If you should tell, I will ruin your reputation." After her husband, Orson, had returned from England, Pratt later claimed in an incident between Pratt and Smith, and Sarah ordered the prophet out of her house, and the prophet used obscene language to her, declaring that he had found Bennett in bed with her. Do you see how sordid this has become? This is Orson Pratt, Sarah Pratt, John C. Bennett. They're counter-accusing each other of immorality and finding Bennett in bed with Sarah Pratt. But now they turned it around and accused Smith of trying to bed down Sarah Pratt. This is complete chaos. This is what the Brighamite Church wants you to believe is a holy celestial principle. It's more like a comedy of dunces is what this is. It's a comedy of dunces. Anyway, so the prophet used obscene language on her, declaring that he had found Bennett in bed with Sarah Pratt. According to Sarah Pratt's neighbor, Mary Eddie V. Smith. Now, For some reason, Mary Addie changed her name, probably to probably to conceal some of her illicit behavior, as some of these women had engaged in Nauvoo. Sarah told her husband that about the incident, and Orson took Sarah's side and confronted Smith, who denied Sarah's allegations and responded that she was Bennett's lover. The resulting estrangement between Smith and Orson Pratt, who stood in Sarah's side and preferences to the denials of Joseph Smith. However, in the local and Mormon press, Sarah Pratt was accused of having an adulterous relationship not with Smith but with Bennett, and numerous affidavits were printed in the local pro-Mormon Nauvoo publication, including the leading councils of the church, from which members such as Jacob B. Backenstoss, a relative of the sheriff of Hancock County, believed her. The estrangement between Orson and Smith occurred as a result of this scandal, and Orson was eventually, within months of John C. Bennett being excommunicated, Orson Pratt was also excommunicated. Truly a comedy of dunces. Now do you see why Orson Pratt was uniquely suited to declare to the world in 1852 that the Brighamite Utah Church was engaging in this chaotic, immoral, disgraceful system called harem polygamy? Yes, we can call it anything you want, but it's certainly immoral and disgraceful.